we like diversity. Apparently they like diversity. People watching movies like diversity, so give them diversity.
And right out the pot, big up the knots. More 4, 5s and 9 than the deck of cards and they hot. Go cup a car, whip off the lot, pull up at Walnut, y'all forgot.
And this is LaLa Madness. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Fierce Review. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking about how Hollywood is leaving money on the table by not prioritizing diversity. And now they have done studies to show that there needs to be more diversity in Hollywood because diversity is buying into Hollywood. So let's talk about it now. Basically in 2020, they did do a study that about the movies then. During the pandemic, you know, pretty much all of 2020 was like the pandemic. So movies with more diverse casts, you know what I'm saying, consistently earn more at the box office and generated bigger streaming audiences. That's not a surprise, you know, we be streaming. And HBO and things like that had some of those, had like exclusive movies where you could see stuff that came out in the movies without having to physically go. So that's kind of been working out as well. And then some people have started returning back to the movies. However, in 2020, you know, a lot more was focused on streaming. So UCLA professors Darnell Hunt and also Anna Christina Ramon, who produced the Hollywood Diversity Report, which is an annual report. The latest edition was actually released on April the 22nd, 2021, and that actually studies the relationships basically between Hollywood's bottom line and diversity on the front and the back end behind the camera or behind the scenes. So, their newest report actually examined global box office revenue. So, and also it took a look at the viewership numbers of the top 185 films released in theaters and on major streaming platforms in 2020. So even though I didn't even hear about 185 movies being released last year, I missed that part. Apparently there were 185 movies released on both streaming platforms and in the movies. So movies that featured 41 to 50% of actors of color performed the best at the box office, while films that with fewer than 11% of actors of color performed the worst. So basically, if 3/4 to half of your cast is of color, that performed better, and if about that 10 or 11% margin, it was lower. So, I mean, I don't know what other statistics they need to tell them that, you know, what they need to see here. It's letting them know. Now, Nielsen ratings also for viewers ages 18 to 49. They do say that across the board for viewers of all races, the numbers were highest for movies with diverse casts. Now, we all know Nielsen ratings. They are credible. They have the numbers. They're going to let you know who watching what, where, and when, broken down by household diversity as well as age group and all that. So, they do a good job of that and have done for, like, decades or something. Long time. Okay, so they're letting you know as well that movies with diverse casts are the ones that are mostly watched. They also found, as far as Nielsen, found that people of color make up a growing and influential portion of the television and streaming markets. And they tend to gravitate towards programming and content with more diversity on the screen. So that's the direction people are going. They're going to the diverse streaming markets and also television, movies, all of that. Anything that has to do with film, they're looking for a little diversity. Sprinkle it on in. Okay. Because they pulling it on out. Gotcha. Now, the report also found that women and people of color are significantly more likely to have directed and or written films with greater on-screen representation. So, people that have people of color, movies rather, or films that have people of color in them, in the cast, tend to also have people of color directing, writers, producers, all of that is generally, or you know, your general staff there as well, tends to be more people of color. So women and people of color also continue to be underrepresented in directing and writing they are more likely to be given lower budgets than their white male counterparts. So they have kind of compiled that data as well, showing that the of color films get lower budgets, which, you know, it could be basically if someone a white male came in with the same script or asking for, you know, certain funding, they would get more than you would get for the same shit. So I'm just saying, that's what they said, not me. Anywho, Black Panther and Crazy Rich Asians actually showed great success as well, which showed that movies centering people of color can actually perform well in the box office. Those are kind of the two examples that they used to show that those movies did great, and the cast there was obviously of color. So therefore, you know, and they had big numbers. Those did very well. So people of color also accounted for the majority of opening weekend domestic ticket sales for 6 of the top 10 films. Okay, so 6 out of 10, that's very good. So at the end of the day, if you have 60% of people, you know, accounting for the majority of the sales, then you know what you need to do, America. Might want to go ahead and sprinkle it on in, you know. And then they're also finding as well that diversity and representation are morally important and are essential to business. So obviously, we can't like put them down really and say it's not diversity. It is diversity. They're kind of, I guess, warming up to it, or it's more and more diversity there as far as in the market goes, as far as with characters that we're seeing and storylines. And also, like they say, you know, the cast and people that are behind the scenes as well are kind of becoming a little bit more diverse. However, we're not all the way there. We're almost there. We're not all the way there. So I guess while we're still working on it, they can at least take these studies and reports that they found or that they've done, these studies that apparently have been being done yearly or annually, so that they know actually what's going on. So if those reports have changed over the years and they've noticed as well now things are very diverse, and that the colored community are the ones that are purchasing a lot of the tickets, and that whether it's you know, colored communities or not, people are buying tickets regardless of what race or nationality they are. They're buying tickets with more or seeing movies and films with more diverse casts. So at the end of the day, they know about it now. I guess they're working on it. You'll probably see a lot more diversity as well. A lot of mixture as far as what will be coming down the pipe. Even though it's good to know that now we're on the platform and people know, you know, that we're kind of on the rise there. And people like it. It's not that it's just there. People like it. They're watching it. They're tuning in. And they're actually paying into it to keep it going, which is good. You know, like what Eddie Murphy did. He had some of every damn body in that cast, which is good because that was a bad year for people, especially in Hollywood and actors and things like that. So at the end of the day, it's those type of things you got to do to kind of keep it going. So in this aspect, we like diversity. Apparently they like diversity. People watching movies like diversity, so give them diversity. All right, let me know what you think as far as diversity in movies and in the entertainment industry itself. So diversity seems to be working. Let's see what we got coming down the pipe that they'll be sprinkling on us here, coming down soon, I guess. Or, you know, they're pumping it up. It's increasing. So let me know what you guys think. LaLa Madness here. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Fierce Review.
Right out the pot, big up the knots. More 4, 5s and 9 than the deck of cards, and they hot. Go pop a car, whip out the lot, pull up at Walnut, y'all.